Good morning, day 121, cooking down the freezer, pantry, and refrigerator. So today it's raining and chilly in the 40s. It's going to warm up a little bit and supposedly dry up this afternoon, but no gardening outside. Too much to do inside. So today's a great day to make some soup. I have some veggies that are going to be past their prime if I don't do something with them. So that will be what I need to do with the food today. See what I can come up with. And I still have some things I need to plant here in the house. I have all the seeds done that I'm going to plant for now. The rest of them need to go outside. But I still have my little garden indoor garden to plant up the pots. So I'll be doing that today, and then maybe I can get my washer back so I can do some laundry. So that's overdue too. Everything is overdue. But anyway, we plug along and do the best we can with what we've got, right? So what are you guys up to today with your gardens, your house? Are you purging? Are you cleaning? Are you gardening? What's going on in your world? I need to do all of the above, but the purging is on hold for now until I get the gardening done. And in the summer, that's about all I have time for, since Tom likes to go to his boat, and I go there and hang out with him and our boating friends. So the window is getting more narrow in what I need to do here at home, and we'll see what happens. I do need to go out in my garage. There's some things I need to do out there. I have a potting bench that I bought, what was it? This is like going on the third summer that I haven't put it together. It's a wooden potting bench. I've always wanted one. So I need to get out there and put that together, because I need to put that together outside because I won't be able to move it once it's put together. So that's a task I need to do. And then put all the gardening things back outside. So lots to do, always lots to do. Who knew retirement would be so busy? All right, I'll be back in a little while and we'll see what's for breakfast. And then I'm going to be making that soup, but I'm going to make that earlier in the day. So stay tuned and let's see what we're cooking down today. Day 121. Okay, let's see what we've got. I think I'm just going to have a couple of scrambled eggs with some shredded cheese and a roll. I think that will be breakfast, day 121, and then maybe some fruit. I have some fruit down there. Either an apple or an orange. I'm not sure yet. All right, I will meet you at the stove. Making some simple scrambled eggs this morning. I haven't had scrambled eggs in quite a while. And I got a roll. I think I still have 4 left. I got those, well, whenever. I did a haul a 3 weeks ago. Probably about 3 weeks ago. So these rolls last a long time. For me anyway, because I usually only eat one a day. and not even always one a day. So after this, I'm going to make some soup. I have those veggies I want to use up that I got the other day, and I'm probably going to freeze some. At least some of the peppers, but we'll see. All right, I'll be back in a few minutes when I get this all put together. Okay, there we have breakfast day 121. I have my scrambled eggs. I put it on top of my roll with some cheese, shredded cheese, and an orange. Okay, I'll be back later and we'll make some soup. Hello. All right, well, I wanted to show you guys something. I know some of you save your scraps like from the bottom of your romaine or your celery and try to regrow some veggies. Well, I've done that before too, but this time I did something different. And I'm going to show you here. What I did was I took away the stuff I had cut off except for way up here, and look what it's doing. I didn't know it would do that. It seems like it gives it space and room and air to grow new lettuces. So I don't know if that's just this one's an anomaly, but it's growing up here and all around. So I'm going to see what this does. My nails are a mess from working in the dirt. Oh well, that's a project for another day, but I thought that was pretty cool. Do you guys do it this way, or do you just cut it off and let it grow from the middle? It's growing from the middle too, but I thought that was really cool. So I want to see if it does the same on all these little nodules. We'll see. So I wanted to share that with you. And then today, since the family's coming over, my house is embarrassing with all the dirt and pots and tomatoes and everything. So I really need to start cleaning up today, which is what I'm sort of quasi doing. But I'm setting up those little grow lights with the pots that I bought because I still have some dirt back there. But look, my pile is smaller. Yay me. So I'm making progress. It's not at a racehorse speed, but hey, what can I say? Like I said, it's more like the old gray mare speed. But so I fed my little tomato plants, the ones that I have Romas and beefsteak, and I swear I fed them yesterday, and overnight they're like huge. So I'll show you those in a minute too. But I'm setting up with the rest of that dirt, I'm setting up my little grow station, and I'm going to try to also grow veggies, lettuces, and herbs in those little gardens. It's not an arrow garden. What I'm trying to do is grow veggies with seed starter and nutrients in the water. It has a reservoir underneath with water, so it's constantly fed the water. I don't know how that'll work. The arrow garden is starting to come up, and I did order another. It's not an arrow garden, it was a knockoff on Amazon, and the regular price was $79, and there was money off. I think it was like $59. It was marked from $79 to $59. And then on top of that, you got a 40% coupon that you could check. So, and it's 8 cells. The two little arrow gardens I have, they're not arrow gardens, the knockoffs. Those have 4 cells each. So I have 8 there, and I'll have another 8 cells. And I'd like to try growing some little, from what I hear, the Tiny Tim tomatoes do very well in an arrow garden. And I watch a lot of garden videos to educate myself. So, but anyway, I'm doing that today, and hopefully I'll get that done and I can get that dirt out of here, put my seeds back in the garage where they belong, and then the only thing I'll have on my dining room table that doesn't go there are the things that I'm going to do my shelving with. But the shelving has to wait until I get all my things planted. I have everything gathered for that. It was like when I refreshed my living room, I gathered everything and it took me, forever and a day to get it done. But that is done now, so that's the way I have to get things done in this day and age. So, but the priority right now is the garden, and the little starts that I did are doing real well. I showed you these yesterday, and I want to plant these outside because they've sort of stalled at this level. So they need nutrients and they need some sunshine. But I had those under the grow lights, and that's all kale, and it was mixed kale that I sprinkled on there. So I'm not sure what kind it is. Some of it looks like it has some red stems, so that might be Red Russian, and I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, let me show you my tomatoes and my dining room table mess. And so I'll be back in my laundry room. This is all the potting mix that I still have, and I've been using this Jiffy potting mix, but I mixed that with some other stuff I got at Mark's last year, and they were different, so I mixed the two of them together. And this is what I'm putting into my pots along with nutrients to see what comes up. So, and I still have this to plant. I have these cannas, but it's still too cold outside. I have to wait a couple weeks to get those in the ground. Here's some eggshells, but back here in this mess, I have this whole container back here. It's supposed to be for composting, but it's all full of eggshells, and I have to process those. Some of them I'm going to keep chunky and just spread it on top of some of my plants out there, because snails don't like that because they're soft-bodied and they get cut up if they go across it, so they avoid that. So anyway, I have this. I think I'm going to plant some coleus and impatiens in here. That's a long one, but I have to make some room under my grow lights. So yeah, I need to get this cleaned up today, and I need to do some laundry. Now over here I wanted to show you my beautiful African violet. Look at those flowers, and every year around springtime it blooms. And this is the baby. I just left them in there together, but I should separate those because they need to be repotted. And then this is a white one, but that one doesn't bloom, so they need to be fed. And then these are potatoes that I bought that I have to get into the ground. These are like a red potato, and this one is still from my butter russets that I want to plant. So I have about 5 potato grow bags out there, but like I said, it's been kind of cold, so we'll see. All right, let me take you to another section. All right, so here I showed you this yesterday, and this is the other pot that came with it. It came in 3 colors: brown, green, and orange. I haven't planted anything in this yet, but I want to plant maybe some herbs or more lettuces in here. So, but yeah, I really like these grow lights. I'm not, affiliated with them at all, but I'm really happy with them. They're very lightweight, which makes it easy to move around. But this isn't going to live here. I'll show you where it's going to live. Okay, so here, that's the kitchen over there. Here's the dining room. And this is where I'm going to set these up. There's nothing in here yet. I did test them out to make sure they work. So I want to clear this off and put the third one right here. And then I'll have easy access to my plants. I was going to make this a grow wall, but the problem was when I got these, this is pretty tall, and I don't want my shelves to have to be that far apart. So this is a better choice for me, just to grow them here. And it covers up the back of the ugly back of the TV a little bit too. So I'm working on that today. I'll fill these with dirt, and then after Easter I'll plant some more seeds in there because I really need to get going on cleanup. And then I'm going to move this stuff and put the orange one here. So this is my mess. Oops, did you get whiplash? This is my mess on my dining room table. And these are all my seeds and my grow things. And then, yeah, I know, looks like a hoarder's house, doesn't it? But these things don't live here. And this is all my Arrow Garden stuff. That all needs to be put away. So this will all go away today. But this stuff will stay here until I get my shelves up, because those are going on the shelf. All right, so here are my two little Ambiano gardens, and since I switched out the pods, they're doing better. So this is a red romaine, this is arugula. Back there I have a Simpson. That's just starting to come up, and that's a regular romaine, and that's also just starting to come up. So, and then I planted these a couple days ago. I have some Butter Crunch, some Tom Thumb, and then I have a couple other things in the back. So I guess it's going to work. We'll see. And this is the pot I took the one little arugula out of and stuck in the dirt. All right, and then these are my tomatoes. These are the Romas. No, these are the Romas. These are the beefsteak. But it's like I can stand here and watch them grow. And I just have them, under a bulb, a grow bulb, with an old lamp that I had. So these I still need to separate. I'm hoping that my son will take some of these for his garden. And then these are the vine tomatoes. These are all from the store-bought tomato. And look at these guys. I mean, they're very healthy, but I need to separate them. I just have way too many tomatoes. I do this every year. So, and then last time I went to Family Dollar, I found this guy. I had to have him. He's so cute. He's like a ladybug. You can't tell, but he's got like little wire wings there. So I picked him up. I know, I'm a gnome nerd. All right, so I have all that stuff going on. And hopefully by this evening I'll be able to have this mess cleaned up. All right, I'll be back later. I'm going to make some soup before it gets too late and I'll poop out. All right, I have lots of veggies that I need to get rid of. I was going to have this in a salad, but I have more tomatoes, so I'm going to put that in the soup. That was the really pretty red tomato, and I'm going to put this pizza sauce in the soup. I'm going to put this red onion in there. That needs to be cooked up. Let's see. Oh, I still have these rutabagas or Swedes, so I'm going to put part of that in there. That would be good in a soup. This is broth, veggie broth, so I'm going to use that. Boy, I'm going to be cleaning out the fridge here. All right, let's see what else. I'll probably put a few mushrooms in just to give it like a meaty type flavor. And then down here, I'm not going to pull this out right now because I only have one hand. I have a small cabbage that I think I'm going to put part of. I have some celery, and let's see, I have these little peppers yet. And some of these peppers I'm going to freeze because it's too much. And then down here I have the peppers I got the other day, and I'm going to put some squash in there too. That was all from my $5 box produce haul. All right, well, that's what's going in my soup, and I'm going to make that in my little Instant Pot. So I will be back in a minute, and I'll meet you at the stove. Starting the soup now. Still here. I cut one up. That was a project, but I still have one rutabaga. So I cut up some rutabaga. That's going in the soup. And I cut some in like fry-like sections. One of my viewers said they're good as fries, so I'm going to try that later. So we'll see. And the dogs love them raw. So I may freeze this one. They said you can blanch, cut them up in cubes, you know, like this. Blanch for 3 minutes, and then you can, of course, put them in an ice bath, and then you can freeze them. So if I like this in the soup, then I'll do that. If I don't like it, and I like the fries, then I'll do it that way. Or I'll cut them up and give them to the dogs because they really liked them. Or maybe I'll shred them up and make them like into a salad of some sort, or put them in a salad. But anyway, the rutabaga, I don't know if I'll ever buy another rutabaga because they're so hard to cut up. I mean, this was really a chore. All right, what else is going in my soup? A cabbage. Not the whole thing. And look, my cabbage is getting roots. So I may put that in water, but cabbages last a long time. So I'm just going to peel some leaves off of this rather than chopping it down the middle, because I want to see if I can save this and have a fun experiment with it. So I'll be back. Alright, I just peeled off some cabbage leaves, and I'm going to cut it in pieces, stems and all. Just nice bite-sized pieces. I don't want soup for a week, so this is my small Instapot. It holds 4 cups, so a quart. So, alright, in goes, and I want it mainly veggies. So in goes that. I have some carrots that are starting to get a couple spots. And I have a pepper. That's starting to get a little wrinkly. And I have the zucchini that I bought. So I'm going to look through these and see which one needs the most attention. And then the celery I bought is still looking decent. So I'll put some of that in too. So I'm going to cut all this up and then I'll be back. Alright, I peeled my carrots. This is my little scrap bag for my veggie broth. So scrub up your carrots. Organic is best, but whatever you feel comfortable with. So save your carrot peels in there too. Now you can even put potato peels in there, but you don't want to add too many potato peels because they might make your broth bitter. But onion peels make a very nice color in your soup. Okay, in goes a carrot. I put a little pepper in there. I might add a little more of that. And of course the puppies are getting their carrot because they love carrots. Anything crunchy. Now, before I feed my dogs anything that I'm not familiar with, like the rutabaga, I always go online and check to see if it's safe for dogs, because some things that people can eat, of course their digestive tract is different than ours, is toxic to dogs, like macadamia nuts, and dogs shouldn't eat raisins, and there's a whole list of garlic they shouldn't have onions. There's a whole list of foods that are not good for dogs. So go online and check and see before you give your pup a treat. Now my guys love raw vegetables. So they love the rutabaga, and now they're getting some carrots. Okay, in goes a yellow squash. The green squash still looks pretty good. So I'm going to fill this all up with veggies all the way to the top, and then I'm going to add my broth. Now when you're checking over your vegetables, and I recommend you do this every few days, see these leaves that are starting to turn a little bit yellow or brown? I'm going to take those right off, because it's like one bad apple spoils the whole bunch. If you get this going on your lettuce or your greens, it's just going to progress and rot the rest of it. So, get rid of that, put it in the compost, feed it to your worms. My worms are going to be very happy today because they're getting all these scraps. So yeah, take those off. That's not good stuff. So, alright, I'm going to cut up some celery now and put the rest of this back in the fridge because it's still looking good. Okay, in goes the onion. I put the celery in there. I put about 1 stalk. I like celery in soup, but I find that too much celery sometimes can make it a little bitter. Alright, I'm going to take a potato yet out of my potato bin, and that will be it because it's almost full. Okay, so it's all full. Now this is going to, of course, collapse as it cooks down. But I also want to add this pizza sauce. So that needs to be used up, and it'll give a good flavor to the broth. Now this will make enough soup for me for at least 3 days. So I don't know, I may have to end up freezing some of this once I cook it. I always cook too much. When you have a family that you cook for, you're used to making, and I mean, it's been a long time since I haven't cooked for a family, but You just don't get out of that mode, at least not very easily. Okay, the tomato went in, that needs to be used. So if you have a lot of vegetables that are just almost past their prime, make a soup or roast vegetables. That's always good. Brine your vegetables. You can do all kinds of things. My friend Creative Lori, she just brined a whole bunch of her vegetables in her last video. So go over there and check that out. All right, broth. So I'm going to put as much of this in as I can. Because I want to use that up too. And it looks like it'll all fit. Yay! All right, I'm going to add a little bit of seasoning to this. I'm going to add just a little bit of crushed red pepper, not much. You don't have to add this. It just gives it a little bit of heat. I don't mind a little bit, but if it gets to be too hot, not for me. I'm also going to put in some seasoned salt. Now this broth already had some seasoning, and so did the pizza seasoning. But potatoes take a lot of salt, so I'm going to put that in. And some of the complete seasoning. I use this a lot. And if you make it too salty, you can always add a little water. So that, and then of course some regular pepper. All right. I was going to put some mushrooms in here too, but there's no room. And that's fine because I'm going to cook up the zucchini with the mushrooms and make another dish with that. Because some of this produce that I got for the $5 for the box needs to be cooked up. All right, so I'm going to cook this in under the soup setting in my little Kasori pot for about 20-25 minutes. And hopefully it's good. All right, I have some other things that I want to cook up today too. So I'll be back. Okay, so I just was in my freezer. Well, I wasn't in the freezer, but you know, I was looking in the freezer. So I have this Sweet Earth Awesome Grounds that I'm pulling out, and that needs to be cooked up. So I have that because I have these peppers. And I have 4 of these big peppers. So 2 of them are going to get frozen. And 2 of them are going to get, I'm going to make stuffed peppers out of. Whoops. So, but I won't do that until tomorrow because this needs to thaw. But I'm also going to cook some rice and put rice in with that, with the meat. So that's one meal I have planned. And then I have, of course, my mushrooms over here, which you can't see, but these really need to get processed. And I could either dehydrate them and save them for another meal, or I could eat those, make extra rice, and eat them with rice and the zucchini or the squash. So that's what I'm going to do, and that all should give me enough food for at least a week, And I think I'm going to see if I can't fit a little something in the freezer, because I don't like to eat food that's been in the refrigerator for a week. It's just not my favorite thing. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and at least cut up 2 of these peppers to freeze. I'm going to make the mushrooms and the squash too. So lots of produce, and altogether, let's see, I spent $6, $5 for the box with all the squash and the peppers and an onion and the mushrooms. What else was in there? And that was only half the box, because I gave the other half of the box to my mom. So, okay, let's say $2.50 for me. Plus I had the rutabaga that was marked down for $1. So for me, the produce this month, now that doesn't include the romaine and the celery and the carrots that I bought, which that came to maybe another, the romaine was like less than $3. And let's see, the celery was $1, like 99 cents, and the carrots were 99 cents. So, all right, let's say $5, $6 is enough produce for me for the whole month. And that is a lot of produce and a lot of meals. So, okay, I'm going to get to cutting some of this up, chopping up some mushrooms, and I'll be back later. Okay, I still have this sparkling flavored coffee and caramel water that I opened up yesterday. I have 2 more cans after this. I'm just drinking it, trying to get rid of it. But I put some strawberry syrup in my cup here. Let's see. Let's just see. Cheers. Much better. You can fix almost anything with strawberry or raspberry syrup. It's raspberry syrup. So I will drink that. But like I said, I would not recommend this. I don't like it. You might like it if you like just... It almost reminds me of seltzer water. So if you like to drink that, you might like it. But I don't like seltzer water much either. All right, I just wanted to finish up with my review. All right, well, I cut up 2 of my peppers. They're beautiful. Looks like Christmas. But I don't have room to put a cookie sheet in my freezer. No way. So what I do, rather than so they're not all blobbed together, I take a big baggie and I spread them out, and then I stick them somewhere in the freezer that way. And then once they're frozen, then I can roll it up a little bit and take up less space. So that's what I have to do in order to freeze bigger things of food. So if you don't have a whole lot of room in your freezer, give that a try. All right, on to something else. Now when my mushrooms start looking a little bit, these are still perfectly good, but when they start looking like this, I peel them, just because I think they look a little better. And this, it's very easy to do, comes right off. And it's good for the soil. You can actually get mushroom compost. The mycelium is good for the soil, but I'm going to give mine to the worms. And boy, are they going to be eating good today. I have 2 containers to stick in there. So that's what I'm going to do. I cut up my yellow squash, a little bit of celery I had left. I'm going to saute this to crisp tender, And since I'm cooking rice anyway to go with the stuffed peppers I'm going to make, I'm going to eat this with rice too. So I'm going to cut up all the mushrooms and put them in here as well. Now when I'm feeding my worms, I do the same thing with them that I do with my dogs. If I'm not sure about a food, I look it up online, because not everything is good for composting worms. You can stick it in your composter outside, but things like they don't like citrus. Let's see, what else? Oh, there's a list of things you can and cannot feed your worms. They like coffee, they like eggshells. You can even stick dirt in there, because with their digestive system, they need that grit to digest their food. And lately what I've been doing is I just put shredded paper instead of cocoa coir. I just put shredded paper on top of the food. And because at one point when I used the cocoa coir, I ended up with fungus gnats, and that was nasty. And the way I got rid of those was I took a container, a little plastic container that something came in, poked holes in the top, not too big so they couldn't get back out, and then I either put, you can put kombucha in there, you can put wine in there, apple cider vinegar they're attracted to. They like sweet. And I put it next to a little lamp with a small light bulb, like a Christmas bulb. And then that attracted them to the container, and that's how I finally got rid of them. But fungus gnats is not fun. I remember one year when I did my garden, I had the same problem with the soil that I used, and it had fungus gnats in it, and I had the same thing going on. So, but that's one thing you can do if you indoor garden and you end up getting some fungus gnats, which you might end up doing. You can try that technique and see if it gets rid of them. They also make those little sticky things, and you know, they'll stick to them. But you want to try and get to, if you see fungus gnats, you want to try and nip it in the bud, because they certainly can, they're prolific little buggers. So I just thought I'd tell you a little bit about that. And if you're interested in composting worms, there's a lot of people on YouTube that have very big composting worm farms. Mine's just a little tiny one. But I look it up if I'm not sure if it's something that the worms will like or not like, or is harmful to the worms. So, because they're not cheap. I bought mine online, I think last year it was, and I forget how many I got. I think a couple hundred, and they were like $26. So, I mean, they do multiply if you take care of them. But still, you know, you don't want to feed them something that's going to not agree with them. So that's my little talk on fungus gnats and composting. I'm back just for a little bit. I have some vegan butter here, and I cut up all my mushrooms. I cut up a couple of summer squashes. Now I'm just going to saute that. And I did not cook any rice yet. That's a project for tomorrow, because I did a lot of cooking today. So my soup is done. It turned out very well. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I ended up putting some of that real little fine pasta in there. I forget what you call it. So it's very thick, but let me show you how it turned out. Here we go. So it's a nice hearty soup. So this will be my dinner for tonight. And then tomorrow I'll make the rice, and I'll have probably this. And I haven't made the fries yet because I wasn't hungry. But I will make them. So anyway, I've been blabbing all day, and I've been cooking all day, and I'm done blabbing and I'm done cooking. I'm going to eat some dinner, have this with a roll, and call it a day. All right, my friends, I want to wish you abundant blessing. Eat your food. Don't throw it away. If you have to throw it away, at least compost it. Turn it back into the earth so it doesn't end up in a bunch of landfills. So, all right, that's all I have for you today. I want to wish you abundant blessings. I love you guys. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. God bless you, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, comment, and like. Thanks for watching.